What is going on out there, peeps? Rise and shine. So, today starts the mark of a good couple of days of negotiations. Let's hope um, a lot of things pan out the way we hope they do. I heard Pompeo was given a speech this morning, pretty much addressing all the other things that are happening here in this country. And then I just had to quickly leave the message because I was busy catching up on what's going on in Iraq. We know there is a delegation that's already there ahead of time. I'm not sure if Pompeo is talking from there or if he's going to be joining them there by tomorrow, but we know the American people have arrived and talks have already started. All right, so could this guy hold the key to what we need? Because what we're hoping for is Iraq to be recognized as a sovereign nation all over again. Okay, so let's get into this. Keep your fingers crossed. All right. Quick reminder, I have Pimpy's Investment Group chat. It's a Facebook group with the same name as the YouTube channel. We talk about the dinar, the dong, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, you name it. I will leave a link in the description. It is free to come and join us. I also have a second group called The Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes. It does cover some areas that most people would consider conspiracy. So there and current events as well. All right, so let's get into what's going on so far in Iraq. The House of Representatives holds its sessions headed by Halabasi. Okay, so they had their meeting yesterday. We know about that. There was 174 deputies present. Haider Mullah, no sane person in Iraq accepts the departure of the Americans at this present time. And, I think I was saying that the American needs to get out of there. Iraq needs to start standing on their own 2 feet. But, the truth of the matter is we don't want anything to interfere with what the prime minister is trying to build there in Iraq. So this person does kind of make a good argument for why there should be some presence there. So our former representatives, Mullah, affirmed on Wednesday that the U.S. withdrawal from Iraq is not possible at this present time, noting that the United States of America considers Iraq the most important repelling line in the Middle East against Iranian expansion. And we know that. We know they were putting their sticky hands in Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, and even over in Afghanistan. So, yeah, I get that. But I don't think Iran is in position right now. They don't have the power to do so anymore. They're dealing with their own protesters. The leader that was running this whole proxy insurgents everywhere is now dead. The second in command is now dead. Some of the mullahs have died, so it's very interesting. He said in a statement, the American presence in Iraq is an American national interest first to fight ISIS and then the armed groups that threaten its presence in the regions. Okay, so yeah, but I can tell you this, and this Stars and Stripes, if you guys ever go to their website, they do have a lot of articles, and I mean a ton of them, on how Iraq is taken lead with the backing of Americans as well as other coalition fighters in the fight against ISIS. So at first it was Americans leading, but now Iraq has taken a lead, which we like. They're being trained, but they do need to rebuild their military, let's be honest. The American presence in Iraq came to fight Iran, the revolution, and regional powers in Syria, Lebanon, and other regions. Yeah, I was just talking about that. There is no sane person in Iraq who accepts or imagines an American withdrawal or the international coalitions from Iraq, noting that the Iraqi army is not equipped with adequate equipment to protect sovereignty or terrorist attacks, and it does not have the communication systems or wheels to pursue terrorist elements into the desert. I'm sure that that's one of the things that's going to happen. I would imagine that Trump will be able to definitely work out some kind of trade deal with Iraq to make sure that these people are equipped with the tools they need to protect themselves. Okay, so Parliament informs the finance and planning of its refusal to deduct the salaries of the employees and retirees. In other words, they don't want to put taxes on them. That's what that means. I know when I was talking about it before, they have this way of, they call everything salaries, but most of the time it's just like entitlement checks, like welfare checks, disability checks, as well as other checks that are needed. So what they're saying is, and when they talk about deductions, they're just talking about taxes. So this is good. I think the people need to, like here in the United States, I heard Trump talking about doing away with payroll tax as well as capital gains tax. we'll take it. Especially if you hold the Iraqi dinar, you should be crossing your fingers that Trump does do away with capital gains tax. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do away with it this year. Okay, what I'm hoping is he gets reelected and retros it back to this year. Just because he doesn't have control of the House of Representatives to make that kind of thing happen. We will watch and see. Al-Kadhimi defines the priorities of the strategic dialogue between Iraq and America. Well, we know that. So, on Wednesday, Prime Minister Al-Kadhimi considered achieving sovereignty. Yeah, we hope you're achieving it. That's what we're crossing our fingers for. And taking into account the country's interest priorities of the strategic dialogue to be held between Iraq and America. On Wednesday afternoon, Al-Kadhimi held a meeting with a number of representatives of the tribes and dignitaries of the, and I believe this is pronounced Nawa government, on the sidelines of his visit to Mosul. On the occasion of the 6th anniversary of its invasion by ISIS, Al-Kadhimi stated during the meeting that Mosul represents a civilization and human history and heritage, and it has been subject to the terror of ISIS gangs. Yeah, you know what they did? They took a lot of religious artifacts, temples, old, ancient, carvings, everything, and it blew them up, which really sucks because that's one of the reasons why I do want to go over into Iraq is to see these things, to see these holy sites. And, I just recently learned in a video, they were blowing them up for a while. I don't know how many of them they took out, but there's some Sumerian tombs there that I definitely want to go visit. Al-Kadhimi pointed out the challenges facing the government in the current stage, and it mobilized all of its efforts to face the Rona. In light of the financial crisis caused by the collapse of international oil prices, the Prime Minister stressed that the government inherited a heavy legacy and received an empty budget as a result of poor planning and total dependence on oil, and stressed that the opportunities for success are available to build a citizenship state. Yeah, we know that. We need them to start, becoming stable so that we can get outside investors in there. But in order to be recognized as a sovereign nation again, they have to have a recognizable, internationally recognized currency. That's another thing we want. He referred to the expected dialogue of the United States, stressing that the first elements of the dialogue are sovereignty and the interests of his country. There you go, guys. This is big, man. We really want them to have their sovereignty back. I hope Al-Kadhimi does what he needs to do to prove to them that they're already on the right track and that the sovereignty is important for the growth of Iraq. They have to have an internationally recognized currency. It'd be great if we could get it trading on the Forex. For us holders, this would be great news. Holders of Iraqi dinar, that is. So, parliamentary finance. The state has 3 options to secure the salaries of state employees. Well, let's hear those 3. Members of the Parliamentary Financial Committee, Cougar affirmed on Wednesday that the state has 3 main options to secure salaries for its employees if it does not adopt real reform. If there is no critical reform decisions to tackle corruption and waste of public money, the state will be forced to adopt 3 main options for securing the salaries of its employees, namely extending the hand to bank reserves, borrowing internally and externally, or deductions. Well, we know they just said they're not going to they're not going to do deductions, they're not going to do taxes, which right now makes sense. We don't want them to borrow externally if they can avoid it. What we want them to do is borrow internally and also raise the rate of the dinar so that it has more buying power, more purchasing power. The financial situation in Iraq is difficult and critical, and it is increasing with time, stressing the importance of reform and alleviating the difficult situation. Iraq has been suffering for months from a very difficult financial situation after the collapse of the world oil. Yeah, we know that. That's another reason why need to change the rate and get recognized internationally so that they could start moving their monies around to different projects, to agriculture. They need to start mining that gold that's there. Man, I'm really curious to see what company gets in there and wins the ability to mine the gold, because that's the one company I'm interested in. Look, QAnon followers. Look at Iraqi's Q. Governmental advisor income tax will be applied to the gross salaries from the current month. So this guy's saying the deductions are coming. Is that right? So the Prime Minister Advisor for Financial Affairs, Saleh, confirmed on Wednesday that the applicable income tax will be applied to the total salaries instead of the normal stating for the current month, which is interesting because the articles right above it, which are more current, saying that they decided not to do that. So the income tax law is on the normal salaries, and now it will be applied to the total salary. That is the nominal with the allocations, noting that the income tax law is fixed and deductions range from 10 to 15 on all employees. That's percent, by the way. 10%, 15% of their salaries are taken out of their pay. That's up there pretty good. So we know what it's going to be able to generate for them, but it's just not enough to cover all of their shortfalls. Okay, economy and investments, the most prominent files for the upcoming American dialogue. We know this. And a foreign political source on Wednesday, the most prominent files of the strategic dialogue between Iraq and the United States. The source said the Iraqi delegation, which will be interviewing its American counterparts, consists of 20 people from the fields of politics, security, economy, and culture. And he added the meeting will take place via the electronic circuit tomorrow, Thursday, as the economy and investments will be the most prominent files that will be discussed, noting that the military dialogue will not be discussed in the sessions tomorrow. Okay, yeah, well, let's get these crack-a-lack, and what I'm hoping is, and what we should be hoping for and looking forward to, is them having the dialogue to just what it takes to make sure that Iraq is a sovereign nation again. That's important. And we know the Kurdistan's been going back and forth, trying to iron out the last of its remaining issues with Iraq. And I think that's important for them to have that ironed out, hopefully before these meetings have already started. If not, at least be on the verge of it taking place. All right, you guys, so that's it so far this morning. I'm more than sure we'll have more news this afternoon, considering where we are right now. And the delegations have, are in advance, have already started. So we know there's a group already meeting with some of the members, and then tomorrow is the big meeting. So you guys, let's hope this should be a very interesting week for us. We are hoping that they do absolutely get their sovereignty back, but we know in order to have that, they have to have an internationally recognized currency. All right, you guys, so let me know what you think. Hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Keep your fingers crossed because this could be the big one.